Hello, everybody. This is Alan Newell coming to you today with an amazing recording. I'm excited to have a special guest on with us today as we're talking about the dirty little secret that's not a secret anymore that we have in the world today, and that is toxins. We live in a toxic world, and there's toxins all around us. And so what I have found, I ran across a company and a product, a little over 8 years ago, Touchstone Essentials, and a Zeolite product, Pure Body Extra Zeolite, that with over 300 studies on PubMed talking about the effects of this product and Zeolite and how it can safely and effectively remove toxins from your body, heavy metals from your body, and get amazing results. So today I'm joined by Mr. Eddie Stone. Eddie is the founder and CEO of Touchstone Essentials, which is a 9-year-old company based here in the United States with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. But not only is it a 9-year-old company, Eddie, first of all, welcome, Eddie. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, Alan, thank you for having me. A real privilege to be able to speak to you and your audience.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, thank you, Eddie. Thank you for that. But Eddie has not only been on Touchstone Essentials for the last 9 years, but he has devoted his adult life since very young, over 30 years, to the health and nutrition industry, and is as close to, he's the most knowledgeable and educated person that I know about toxins and food and zeolites, and not only that, but whole food, plant-based nutrition, and being able to, take care of these bodies, And Eddie, as the world progresses, here a statistic that I saw that was interesting to me is that, we're so much more technologically advanced in today's world, so much more. These little cell phones here have more technology and more capabilities than the computers that sent man to the moon the first time.
Yes.
But along with technological advances, products, synthetic ingredients, processed foods, flame retardants, you don't think about when you go and get into your car and drive down the road that the seat you're sitting on has been treated and sprayed with flame retardants, so that if in fact the car catches on fire, you have an opportunity to get out so it doesn't go up like a Christmas tree.
It's important.
It's important. The clothes that we use, the dry cleaners that we may take our clothes to and have them dry cleaned and pressed, is a convenience and technological advances that we have experienced over time. Now you can take a box of food out of your freezer and throw it into a microwave, and within 2 minutes, which seems like too long for some people, you've got a hot cooked meal. But along with that, along with those advances, along with those advantages, along with those technologically advanced products, environments, the air we breathe, just the things we're around every single day, the foods we eat, come toxins. Many of them are in our crops, with genetically modified crops and the herbicides and pesticides, so that they can grow food bigger and faster. So that leads us to our topic today, which is we're talking about an amazing product that my personal testimony with mold toxicity has been absolutely amazing when I experienced mold in my house. It's been 7 years ago, and became deathly ill with mold, and to the fact that I couldn't sleep, itching and rash all over my body, hair, head itching, nausea. It was terrible. And taking Zeolite, now I upped my dosage from 3 times a day to about 5 times a day during that process, really helped me rid my body of those toxins. So the secret ingredient, and it's really not a secret anymore, again, with 300 studies on PubMed, is Clinoptilolite Zeolite. And many of you listening today may go, what is that? So if you would, speak to the audience today and just kind of give them an overview of obviously it was started hundreds of years ago by the Romans and you didn't discover it, but bringing that to the market and the benefits that it has.
Sure. And to your point about the PubMed, not only has Zeolite and speaking very specifically about the naturally mined zeolite, clinoptilolite, right? It's very specific because zeolites, there are several dozen zeolites in their natural form, and then many, many more that are grown in a lab or synthetic that are used in industrial processes and usages, which are quite wide. And that's because of the unique structure, which I'll speak to in just a moment. But part of the reason this has become so important, all these issues you've just talked about, 100,000+ chemicals that are in consumer products every day, but these chemicals are just fundamentally disruptive to the way the human body works. They disrupt hormonal function. They can disrupt your metabolism. They can impact your brain function. And we all know this, whether you've connected the dots or not, if you think about what we've learned about lead. That people were taught, when kids were eating lead back before that was a recognized, issue, that it would actually lower the IQ of children. Well, it turns out it'll do the same thing for adults. And over time, things like lead, mercury, cadmium, other heavy metals, they will not just erode the IQ, but a person's control of motor function, motor skills, or it's sometimes referred to as executive function, because it's not just the impact on fine motor skills, but it can even impact impulse control, the ability to control your eating. People talk about brain fog, which I don't think it's an official medical term, but I did hear it in one of the COVID updates the other day, right, in the medical community, right? So it's a very real issue for people. And so anything that's disruptive to what the normal function would be, ability to concentrate throughout the day, we can talk about how it impacts language skills, your ability to critically think and solve problems. In the very same way you might think of somebody struggling that didn't get a good night's rest, or even the impairment associated with drugs or alcohol, right? And so heavy metals, environmental pollutants, you talked about the dry cleaners, the PFASs and other things that you might think of as flame retardant materials. And keep in mind, Alan, now you're talking about something that's a forever chemical.
Yes.
Right. So it's not easily wiped away, right? Sometimes water, you can filter water for safety and for health, but and taking those particles out of your system. But these forever chemicals that you find in volatile organics, PFAS, things that come in, let's say Teflon, C8, things like that, you can't really get rid of them. And they, we're talking about these things, organizational control, how your thyroid works, emotional control. So it's really it's an interesting subject. And for us, I'll be right out front with everybody. We think this is one of the primary three things that you should think about when you think about your health, trying to optimize your health, having not only the best health possible in the moment, but how you age in the future, right? We think about detox. For another show at another time, we can talk about rebuilding the body with superfoods and balance with things like CBD. But when we talk about detox, in this case, we work with the naturally mined clinoptilolite that are referred to the zeolite because of its unique qualities. And so going back to that PubMed, it's studied not just for human consumption. We know what it does in agriculture. We know what it does in animals. And of course, we also understand in industrial environments. And so for those listening that, they think about their children or they think about safety, it holds GRAS status with the USDA, specifically the mined zeolite holds this GRAS status. So that's generally recognized as safe. The equivalency that we would find in the European Union, their version of GRAS, and the same thing throughout Asia. So it's something that we know a lot about. It goes back to the Chinese clay eating societies, the Romans, and all these wonderful history. But here's the crux of the matter for us. It has a cage-like structure. So in your mind's eye, if you can envision something like a porous sponge or maybe Swiss cheese, that's kind of an example to think about. And inside those cages is a native negative charge, meaning it's naturally there, the way the structure is pieced together. And that negative charge is attracted to these heavy metals and other things we've been describing because they have a positive charge. So in the very same way you think about when the north end and the south end of a magnet might come together, they sort of snap together, it will bind. So what's critical for us when we talk about things like detoxification is, as it's in the body, as it's circulating in the body, and it works based upon proximity. So it's a hardened mineral, right? Even though you can't see it if you're using our Pure Body Extra, it's still a hardened mineral there. It just happens to be very small and trapped inside a water cluster. And so as it's circulating in the body, comes in contact or vicinity to these things and binds, since you don't have a natural receptor site for zeolites in your body, it will process out of your system through normal renal and bowel function in just a few short hours. And so it's a fantastic way to detox, and detox systemically, meaning all the time, because the exposure is constant. So now it's a tool that an individual person like yourself, me, our families can use on a day in and day out basis to support our health, in the midst of all these things you've described, right, with modern living that's not going away, right? We're not going to get away from it. And it isn't just that things through ion exchange bind inside the cage, right? And when I say ion exchange, for those that maybe aren't fully connected to what I'm saying, think of the way that we think of antioxidants. You eat fruits and vegetables, which are rich in antioxidants, and they can neutralize free radicals in your body, or you might even say deactivate them through an ion exchange, right? The free radicals are given an electron from the antioxidants, and it's neutralized at that ion exchange. Very, very similar to the function here, right? So the basic mechanics are pretty simple to sort of diagnose and understand. And so when you use this on a daily basis, it's circulating through the soft tissue in the bloodstream. In our case, that Pure Body Extra at a nano size is small enough actually to get into the cells of the body. The majority of it, when you spray it in your mouth, is going to absorb mucosally. And so now you've got a tool that not only provides gut and blood and tissue detox, but also can provide cellular detoxification. So it's just one more way to have a defense, right, against this modern world. And we know with the onslaughts of things like pandemics or pollutions or wildfires, or you name it, right? It's too big a list for you and I to go through. We're under bombardment. Anything you can do to free your body up, which the body is brilliant in every way possible. Part of the reason I'm in this career is because of this just fascination I have with how the human body works. And so the body's out there fighting the battle, right? Your immune system, your respiratory system, all these things. And so this is one more tool to give them that freedom, lift that body burden so the body can work more effectively to do the things it does, which is to fight disease, right? Fight common colds and coughs and all these other things. And so that's what makes it brilliant. Now, for our part, we have a proprietary process where we prep the zeolite cage, which makes it infinitely more effective, right, on an exponential scale. Once it gets into the body, that's a real differentiator. And the sizing, and then working with it from a natural source. And so we're excited because every day this feedback we get from some 60 countries, which we work with to get this product out there, because we're here in the US, but these are issues faced all over the globe. And so that's hopefully gives people a little snapshot of what zeolite is. And if they need more, we've got about all you can want to study up on the website if you want to see more detail.
Yeah, that's great information. And, and that was awesome. And I appreciate that. And we're going to share some testimonies in just a second. One of the ways that I like to explain it, and you talked about a sponge, and if you've got a sponge at your house, you're going to clean the sponge out and then clean up the next mess. And I kind of look at it like this, because we live in this toxic world that we're not going to be able to get away from unless you want to live in a bubble. No. I was looking at the way right now a popular topic that everybody's watching is the rover on Mars, the Mars rover.
Sure.
And when I watched the production of that, they had a clean room and an ultra clean room where they were putting this device together, because any little nanoparticle could deteriorate or cause a problem on that. And when you're sending it through outer space, once it gets there, it's there. There's nothing you can do about it. And it could deteriorate the metals or cause something to not work properly. The same way with us, when you think about being in an environment where when your clothes you wear, well, hopefully you wear them a day and then wash them, because they get dirt and germs and mold and body odors and lots of different things that they can get into them. You wash your hair, you shower, you bathe, you change the air filter in your home. They recommend that you change the air filter, because I talk to people all the time, and I said, let me explain to you this way. We don't see a lot of the toxins and a lot of the things that are just floating around us. They're there, but we don't see it. But if you go and you change your air conditioner filter, they recommend you change it once a month. But most people, the average person, changes it every 2.5 months. And I said, when you take that filter down and you look at it, what's in there? And it's nasty. It's filthy. We're breathing. I said, well, before it gets to that filter, you're breathing that air. And it's only drawing that air up when it runs.
Yeah.
You know, and so our bodies are the same way. We're breathing this stuff in. We're consuming it in foods that we eat. We're consuming it in the waters that we drink. One of the statistics that really blew me away was there's over 240 different toxins in the water systems that are not even monitored. They monitor many, but there's 240 known carcinogens and toxins in our water system that are not even monitored. So I want to share some testimonies with people because it's just amazing. What impresses me and I love to hear is the stories that people share once using our product. And so let's look at that for a second here, and I'll let you elaborate on those as we go. Here, this first one is from Jamie Lynn Grogan. My computer's doing funny stuff. Hang on here. Let's stop that. All right, so let's back up. Is it flashing on your end too?
It was.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's see if we can bring it up again. All right. That was interesting. There we go. Look at there. Second time is a charm in this case. So Jamie, as you can see by the pictures here, and I'm going to get rid of this so we can see it better. The picture on the left is her at 26 years old, where you can see actually a bald spot here, and it says unknown toxicity, unbalanced hormone, disease, depleted nutrients from 37 prescription pills a day. And here's the situation that Jamie had was that she was trying to find out what was wrong with her, and they were trying so many different things to help her. And literally, she had toxicity in her body, and they were trying to figure it out. 26 years old, handfuls of hair falling out every time she showered. Now at 35, my hair is stronger, thicker, healthier than ever. I sprayed just my hairline with PBX. From bald spots to brand new hair, and she's been consuming the Zeolite orally and using it topically. So, that's an impressive thing. And now I just talked to her last week, and she said, I am literally not using, I don't have to take any more prescription drugs whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
My autoimmune, she didn't know what it was, allergies, had no idea. But now she's just amazing what she's getting results on that.
Well, I'm excited for Jamie, and I thank her for sharing, right, her story with us. These are obviously very personal things, right, that she's sharing about a bald spot and her hair. And it doesn't really surprise me, because day in and day out, we see this with people where when you help the body detox, the body's got wonderful natural abilities to detox, but in a modern world, it's just simply overwhelmed. And for some people, biologically, they detox more easily than others, right? Two different people can have the same exposures, and one sort of manages it and another has acute problems. They both probably have chronic problems coming, right? Because toxins impact the DNA negatively, making more vulnerable to disease, but they also can accelerate the aging process, right? So everybody's going to have those issues over time. And so to see this with Jamie, right, this is what we see with people on a day in and day out basis when they're supporting the body in that ability to detox, get out of its way, and let it start to work to heal itself. So her immune system, if she had autoimmune problems, clearly that means that her immune system was overheated, right, and needed to be calmed down. Central nervous system, even things like digestion are affected by these issues. So it's exciting to see what's happened to Jamie. One of the other things we do is when we take that cage and we get it to the right size and prep it, we also then make sure that its ability not just to take toxins inside, there's something called a zeta effect where that charge can reach to the outside. And by having a lot of particles per drop, right, that's a kind of a way to think about this. There's also a sort of a sandwich effect to not just get heavy metals out of the body, but help to push and escort other environmental pollutants that could be playing a role in this hormonal disruption and other things that she's facing. So it's just, hey, this is just gratifying for us to see.
Yeah, yeah. And when you talk about using the product topically, one of the things that people don't understand a lot of is your skin is your largest cell in your body, and with the product being nano-sized, it's able to penetrate at the cellular level, so it does penetrate the body. So
Yeah.
big differences there. Here is this is a kind of a two-part situation. There's some groups out there on social media that are dedicated to the product, and people who are dedicated to detoxing. There's detox groups, and here's someone who asked a question within that group, and she said, "Has anyone got testimonies for learning disabilities being helped? It's for someone I know." And one of the responses I thought was really cool, and she actually posted a video that I can't share here, but you can see that it was a video, and it was her child in school, and it said the teacher said yesterday that Akira has come out of her shell and been talking a lot, and she wasn't speaking at all before or doing anything. She plays with her Barbies again, and every day she does this. So, when one of the things I want to preface on and then have you comment on this is that, my mother has, as you get older, you hear people all the time talk about, I went into the kitchen, got there and went, I forgot what I went in here for,
Yeah.
And my mother has memory problems and she can't remember. She says, I got CRS. I can't remember. I won't say the last part. And she's hilarious. But when we started using Zeolite for her, whether it brain fog, memory, whatever, it improved a lot. And so that's kind of what I think that we're seeing here. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Oh, absolutely. So we were talking about lead before, right? And we know that lead can lower IQ. Well, what is the manifestation of that? Well, it can be behavioral, right? Where a child should have certain social developments and they don't, or verbal skills, right? These are all things that when the brain is bound up for whatever reason, right? Whatever types of toxins or other issues are involved, anything you can do to support the body's ability to lessen that burden, lessen that load, it frees up that child or that adult or anyone, to go out there and sort of live that best life, right? And sort of reconnect to what they natively are able to do. And so this isn't, I don't know Akira's story, but this isn't the first story like this that I hear quite constantly about both children and young adults and older adults. And so it's really just speaks to the capacity of the body to heal itself once you get rid of the toxins.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's another one about a young boy. It says, this is a picture of my son. This is from Samantha Hicks. She says, he and I are both currently taking PBX. A lot of people call the Pure Body Extra PBX. We started a month ago. He has some tics and started in August, and that is how I found the Zeolite. I have seen a lot of improvements in him since starting. Looking forward to his little body running more optimally.
That's great, and he looks very cute and happy there on that football field, right? Looks like he might be playing some flag football. So, hey, it's just another in a long line of where we see that behavioral issues can be created by heavy metals, environmental pollutions, volatile organics, dyes, artificial chemicals found in food, preservatives found in ultra-processed food. All these things can be disruptive. Some people's bodies are reacting differently than others. So if you start to clean up your diet, right, think about this healthy living lifestyle as best as you can, right? It's a modern world with a lot of challenges, right? So it's not easy for everybody. And then support the native processes with something like Pure Body Extra, these naturally mined zeolites. This is what we see. And it couldn't make us more excited.
Yeah. One of the things that happens all the times is we live in this fast-paced world with the majority of households now with both parents working outside the home. And so what becomes convenient is just, feeding these kids these processed foods that include food coloring and many other toxins, as you mentioned, and it just becomes normal. And then we see, lots of different issues, be it from, weight gain to, lots of different things that come with that. And when you can remove those, and as you mentioned, give the body a chance to heal, it makes such a huge, huge difference. This is from SC. They didn't put their name, SC in the United States. I'm still early in the regimen, but I have definitely been seeing results in how I feel. I have much less brain fog, more positive mood, overall less digestive issues. You must give it a couple of weeks minimum and less fatigue. I plan on getting more. I do prefer the spray to the drops. It's easier to get kids to try it because it's tasteless. You need this in your life.
So let me just say this about this, and it's just a little reminder that give your body time to heal and see the impact, right? For most people, this body burden, this exposure has accumulated over time. And so you want to make sure that you give yourself enough space so you can really see what these benefits are, since it didn't come about overnight. Now, people have asked me, is the zeolite effective immediately? The answer is yes. It works mechanically, right? So the first time it goes into your body, it is going to begin a process of helping to lessen that, body burden, right? Helping to get rid of those toxins in the body, the lead, the cadmium, and the others. And so it may take a little while for the impact to be felt, but the results of supporting the body's ability to detox is an immediate exercise.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one of the things I wanted to point out is you can see this 5-star review. And if you look in the upper right-hand corner, it's got checked great by and verified buyer. One of the things that I really love that we do, Touchstone does, is that when you go to their website, this verified buyer, you can Google them. They're a third-party company that when people give their testimonials about the product, they gather this information and then they post it. So there's hundreds of them on the website that you can go through and look and read these amazing stories for yourself. I know one time I had a gentleman who I was sharing a testimonial with, and he said, I went to the website and he goes, that every one of those testimonials are from customers. And I said, yeah. He goes, so, and then he thought about what he was saying, and he goes, oh, that's a good thing. So, yeah, I want to hear from a customer, not from somebody who hasn't bought the product. So this next one is from Hank in the United States. I've tried zeolites in the past and didn't really feel anything from them. But then I found out about the nano-zeolites, our Pure Body Extra, and decided to explore them again. I first tried another company's zeolite, and I won't say the name of the company, but for a month to see how I liked it. I found it quite good. Then I switched to this Pure Body Extra. I was blown away. It is so much more powerful. I have felt its rejuvenating effects 24/7 since I started using it about 2 weeks ago. I've tried a lot of supplements over the past decade, and this has the most profound effects of them all. I'm deeply grateful to the company and have recommended it to all my friends. I'm not big on talking about other companies, but I will say that the company he's referring to here has a synthetic zeolite, a liquid synthetic zeolite. So if you would, you can see here by their testimony the differences in their experience. Can you talk a little bit about the difference in synthetic versus 100% natural?
Well, first, the naturally mined Clinoptilolite that we use, that's a very specific type of zeolite. We mine it here in a pristine environment in the United States. That's what has the GRAS status, not the lab growns or the synthetics, right? There's nothing there in terms of what we know from that historic safety data that earn the GRAS status. They can say, well, it's a similar structure, but the reality is it's really not the same in that regard either, because there's one of the difference in the natural products versus the synthetics or the lab growns is their structure, if it's synthetic or lab grown, can be vulnerable to what are referred to as weak acids. Weak acids, for those that aren't chemists, what you're thinking of there is something like, say, your stomach acids. And so that means their bonds can be broken in the digestive tract. And so it just simply means that those elements that were perhaps bound in the cage or gathered on the surface now are freed up and may reabsorb as it's going through the large and the small intestine, traveling through the gut and the bowel. And so that's one more reason why the safety data, the strong bond, you don't have that risk when you're working with Clinoptilolite. So that's one of the reasons why. But I think this result here, I'll brag on the company just a little bit. We've spent years and a lot of money on the research and the process that gives us this prepped cage so that it's just more effective, hyper effective than it would be otherwise. We have this system where we use a mix of calcium primarily and some magnesium to make sure that cage is primed to absorb and exchange, ion exchange with heavy metals and other pollutants inside the body. And so this is not the first time we've heard this, right? The process of cleaning it and properly sizing the zeolite creates results that I'm just unaware of another product in the marketplace has the same result. That's not to say that zeolites can't be effective. That didn't come from us, but I am a big believer in why not use the best that you can and get the value out of your money. And so that's a point of pride for us in what we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's see here. Next is Kimberly Bellafleur. I'm going to pronounce that properly. Kimberly is from Canada, Northern Canada. And she says, if it's okay with the admin, this is another one of the testimonials that was posted in a group. I would like to share my story. As a child exploring, we came on an old lighthouse light, and within it, we found the shining liquid called mercury. I remember we took an old empty pill bottle we got from an adult, saved some of the mercury, and would play with it, rolling it around in our hands. It seemed fascinating at the time that the globs would separate and then join back together. Little did we know of the dangers of toxicity. When I started using the Pure Body Extra, I was prepared to drink lots of water. I started following the directions for dosage. After I got through my first weekend, my sense of smell was amazing. Wow, I did not know green beans cooking on the stove could smell so good. I sleep much better too. I stayed on the 2 dosages a day for a while, then started transitioning to 3 doses a day. And I can honestly say this product, I never want to be without it. And, you know, this is an interesting story about, you know, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. I remember as a child living in the South, and they used to come through the neighborhood with these trucks, pickup trucks, and in the back was a big tank and a sprayer, and they would spray. It was like a fog. Well, it was DDT killing mosquitoes. So we didn't know that as kids. We just thought it's the fog machine coming through, killing the mosquitoes, and we would get our bicycles and ride behind the truck in the fog. And so many times, and these are lifelong problems and toxins that can do that, so many times this happens. So if you could touch base a little bit on this and how that's helping.
Well, mercury, for those that really know this subject, and most of the time we probably think of mercury fillings in teeth and the off-gassing that occurs when you chew and or when fillings start to break apart over time, right? And the very minute particles and how they can get into the bloodstream. But mercury is a neurotoxin and frankly deadly at aggressive levels, right? And it's one of those things like lead that can affect IQ, other functions. It can affect nerve endings, cause nerve endings to erode if you've got heavy mercury poisoning and things of this kind. So it's just one more place where that zeolite, through its process of ion exchange and binding, can aid the body in getting rid of this really dangerous toxin. And so we're excited. I appreciate that Kimberly shared that story. And so that Northern Canada is a beautiful part of the world to be from. And so I appreciate she shared that with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, we're at 33 minutes, so I want to wrap up and say that, you know, I appreciate you coming on and sharing the amazing information. And this, to me, in my experience, is a product that I nor my family will ever live without. I met 2 young boys yesterday who came, believe it or not, door to door selling at my house, and both of them, and we don't need to go into this topic now, but both of them said that they're vaping, and one of them said, "Yeah, I was smoking 2 packs a day, and now I'm vaping," and just the consumption of the toxins, and so we don't even need to go there, but I said, here, you've got to try this because it's going to make a big difference in you. One of the things that I love about Touchstone is, you know, if you're interested in trying this product, we first want to encourage you to get back with the person who shared this video with you, because they'll have the links and information for you to try it. And right now, the company is, you know, this product is only $63 a month with a monthly reorder program. But right now, you can buy this product for $13.83. And I want to emphasize that not only this product, but all the products that you offer, Eddie, through Touchstone come with 100% empty container, money back guarantee, no matter where you live in the world. And that is so powerful. One of the things that speaks to that is I saw some numbers that said with a less than 2% return rate, the proof's in the pudding and how well the product works. But, just close it out with talking about why you decided to do that and to offer that product to just all new users and customers for that amazingly low price.
Yeah. And so let me just give everybody sort of this backdrop to it. So this is our most popular product globally. I mean, we've got some products, other products that are exciting, but this is clearly the most popular product we have in some 60 countries. And it normally sells, the retail is $79.95. And then, as you pointed out, on subscription, it's $63.83. And so we see every day, and then we see the testimonials like you've just shared, which is just one of, I think there's over 12,000 testimonials on the website. I think over right at 11,000 5-star testimonials and reviews. And so we know the product's effective. We know it can change people's lives. And so part of our mission, we have an internal mission that our advocates like you, Alan, are aware of, where we're really focused on reaching 1 million families and with touching them with information about good health and the products we have. But this issue of toxicity is ubiquitous, right? So we want to make this available on a global scale. So we offer a $50 coupon, which translates into the $13.83 price for those that will utilize our subscription program. And the shipping is free. And if they're unhappy, just like you said, return the product, get your money back, no questions asked. But what we've learned over time is, and our return rates are well below 1%. And the majority of that is where people forget that they've ordered something and they just naturally refuse it in the mail. I'm surprised how often that happens. But maybe that's why they need the product. But it's just, it's exciting for us because once people use the product, it is a game changer for them. And then they begin a cycle of referrals for us as an organization. So we're happy to do this because we feel like we're making a real meaningful impact on the community. And from a business standpoint, this is how we want to meet new customers. And so we're proud to be able to make this offer.
Yeah. And I invite you to order the product today for yourself, if anyone else. And again, you're at a no risk. I mean, if the product doesn't work for you like we promised, then we'll gladly give you a refund. And it's an empty container, which means that what you're going to get in your bottle is a 30-day supply. And so we want you to take it every day, just as recommended, until the bottle's completely gone. And then when that product is completely gone, if you don't love it, you just contact support. And I'm glad to hear that the latest number I'd heard I knew it was less than 2%, but less than 1% is just amazing in any standard. So Eddie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing amazing information. Appreciate it as always. And,
thank you, Alan. Pleasure to be here.
And again, get with the person who invited you to take a look at this and get your bottle today, and you'll see and feel the difference.